Hey everyone, so today's video is going to be my personal review of my Fitbit Surge. Now I am a huge Fitbit fan. I got my first Fitbit last year in August and I literally wore it every single day since I got it, which I know a lot of people who own them and don't wear them or don't use them, but I have literally been using it non-stop. I started with the Fitbit Charge HR, which is the model down from this one, and I absolutely loved it. Then I got in contact with the team at Fitbit to ask them some questions about the Blaze, and they were like, would you like us to send you the Surge and the Blaze? And I was like, of course I would absolutely love that. So they did very kindly send me this for review. I do just want to put that out there. This was not something that I purchased, but I did purchase my original Fitbit myself, and just before I contacted them I was actually thinking of upgrading myself to this one. The Blaze is another one that's coming out in March, which, as I said, I will be receiving that for review also, so if you would like to see a review on that one maybe in April, do let me know, because then I can start prepping that for you. So if you guys have no idea what Fitbits are, they are fitness trackers. Now the one that I have, as I said, is called the Fitbit Surge, and at the moment it is the top of the line option from Fitbit. It comes in two colours. It comes in black and tangerine is a really cool kind of like red orange shade. And I really like that one, but I decided to get the black because it goes with everything and it just looks really simple. First off, we'll start by talking about the appearance. Now I do just want to say this isn't going to be a technical review. I'm not going to talk about like gyroscopes and like battery size and what GPS means and all sorts of stuff. This is going to be like a user's review. I'm not a tech person. I don't know stuff about, well, I know some stuff about tech, but I'm not going to go into that in this video because this is mostly for those of you who are like me and don't necessarily care about all of the insides. You just want to know, does it work? Is it worth it? Am I using it? So looking at the Fitbit, we'll start with the appearance because for me that was the most important thing. This is what it looks like. I'll show you guys up close shots as well, but it's basically got a square screen with quite a large bezel. The bezel, I know it's a technical term, but it's the area around the screen. If you guys can see, if I tilt it right, it's got quite a large area around the actual screen. It's just got a black and white display, which is fine. It's nice and simple. The straps are made out of like a stretchy kind of like rubbery material. I do find that the material can dirty easily if you are a makeup wearer. If I'm not using makeup, I find that it stays really clean. To keep them clean, all you need to do is, they suggest that you use something like Cetaphil, but I actually, to be completely honest with you guys, just use my micellar water on it and it's totally fine because it is waterproof, but we'll get to that later. Those green lights, I don't know if you guys can see them flashing at you, but that's basically how they tell your heart rate. I don't know the science behind it, but it like shoots at your skin and then the blood comes, I don't know, does something, and that's how they tell your heart rate. Told you guys this wasn't going to be a technical review. They also have the charging port down there, which is good because that's why it's waterproof basically, because you know, if it's touching your wrist, the water's not going to go straight into the charging port. But saying that it's waterproof, it is not, it's water resistant, not waterproof, if that makes sense. So you can like wash your hands and like splash it on there. You can like accidentally take it in the shower and you're not going to like, you know, break your watch, but you can't really go swimming with it. I did, however, take it with me when I went to Blue Springs. First time I totally forgot to take it off and I kind of had it submerged in the water for a little bit. And it's fine, but I wouldn't say that I'd recommend it. Before I forget, I do wear the small band, which I find is a little bit smaller than the small band from the Charge HR, if that makes sense, because I'm on the 3rd loosest setting, whereas on the Charge I was on the 4th loosest setting. But you want to wear it so that if you can move it without it getting stuck or anything, and you need to wear it 1 finger's width above your wrist bone, so just kind of like that. And you're supposed to move it further down when you exercise, however I just find that I kind of like push it so that it's not going to slide, and I've had no issues with any heart rate readings or anything like that. It is quite a bulky device for somebody with such a small wrist. My wrist is like, I think 19 centimeters in diameter. It's not very large, but I find that it is quite bulky. If you are a fan of like really feminine thin watch faces and stuff, you might want to wait for the Blaze or the other new one, which I think might be called the Ultra. I'll write what it's called down here, I totally can't remember, but that one is like a straight fashionable kind of looking band, and the Blaze is more like an Apple Watch. I know this is weird that I'm recording over top of me just talking and it doesn't match, but I just wanted to correct the pricing. I said it wrong in the video, so I'm just going to voice over. So on the website it retails at $480, but I have seen it as cheap as $380. I know the warehouse stationery is a really great option. Sorry that I am doing this voiceover, but my information was very wrong, so back to the review. Because this is at a higher price point, I will just say right now, if you guys aren't crazy into exercising like I have Now let's talk about my favorite features. I have them all listed here, and let me tell you the ones that I love, and then I'll tell you some stuff that I don't love, which is only like one thing, so I guess that's pretty good. Really quickly, I didn't actually mention what this thing tracks. So it tracks your steps, it tracks your calories burned, so it has your basal calories, which are the ones that you burn, like if you were lying in bed all day, your body would burn, like mine burns, I think it's like 1,400 calories or something like that per day, just naturally, like just from being alive. So it tracks that plus however many you use by walking. This particular Fitbit also tracks your heart rate. They have a few different ones that track heart rate, and this is one of them. The Charge HR also tracks your heart rate, so if that's kind of the main feature that you're looking for, definitely go for the HR, but if you want the whole shebang, this is the one for you. The heart rate tracking is really great because it can tell you what sort of zone you're in for working out. So there's like the fit burn zone, there's a cardio zone, peak zone, all sorts of stuff like that, and there are actually little symbols on the screen that tell you which zone you're in, because there's a kind of like a heart, and then there's lines that go on top or on the bottom, and if you're in the code, it'll tell you what zone you are in to help you with your working out. It also tracks your total distance traveled going by your steps, and it also tracks the floors climbed, which to be honest is the one function that I found is just not very accurate. I think from what I've heard though, a lot of different fitness trackers have struggles with telling that, because I have like a flight of stairs in my house. It's not very tall, but like for example, by the end of the day it will say that I've only climbed 3 flights of stairs, whereas I've probably climbed up and down my stairs like 100 times in a day, so surely it should be higher than that, but I don't really know how that works. If you guys know how floors work, please tell me, but I feel like that's the only statistic that might be a little bit off, but I find that the steps are very, very accurate. Obviously those depend on your height, because when you get the app, this is kind of going off track, but when you get the app, you put in your height, and because obviously if I was like 6'8", I'm going to have longer legs than a person like me who's only 5'5", so I would obviously do more steps in a day than someone with very long legs with a higher height, because their legs are longer. So you have longer strides means less steps. So when I go walking with my mum or whatever, I generally will do a few more 100 steps than her if we do like an hour walk, because I am like probably have like 1.5 steps to her 1 step, if that makes sense. Probably not quite that much, but do you get what I'm saying? So if you and a friend have a Fitbit and you're very different in height, do expect a discrepancy in your steps if you do some exercise together. Now getting into the features that I absolutely love, the first of which is the sleep tracking. Now I love this feature. I do actually think that some of the other fitness trackers like the Jawbone do have a better fitness, like a sleep tracker, like they can tell you when you're in like REM sleep, when you're in deep sleep, when you're in like all different sorts of types of sleep, whereas the Fitbit only tells you when you are awake, asleep, and when you are restless, which I still think is really great. So that's again goes off of your heart rate. So obviously when you are totally asleep, your heart rate is very low, your heart is not pumping fast because you are like really relaxed, you're sleeping. When you go into a restless sleep, your heart rate will go up, and then when you're awake, your heart rate obviously rises once again. So that's how it tells what sort of stage of sleep you're in. I find this so helpful, because when I wake up some mornings, obviously this is just, sometimes it's just when you wake up in your sleep cycle, but some mornings you might have like 8 hours sleep, or you know what seems like 8 hours sleep, and then you find out that it was actually only 6.5 hours of like proper deep sleep, and you spend 1.5 hours being restless. So that's probably why you're not as well rested as you thought. And the sleep tracking on this is automatic, which is amazing. So I think if your heart rate stays at that low stage for I think it's 10 minutes or more, it enters into sleep tracking mode. Another thing that I like about this, but something that I kind of am semi-disappointed with, is the silent alarm function. So if you go into the app, you can set alarms through there, and basically what your little Fitbit does is it vibrates on your wrist. You get like 3 sort of like short sharp vibrations that are actually enough to wake you up from sleep. However, I find that the vibrations on this are not as strong as the Charge HR, and I hope that that's something that they remedy before they bring out the new Fitbit, because sometimes it's not enough to wake me up from sleep, so I kind of use them more as reminders. So like I have to do the roll in the afternoon at school, so I just have it vibrate at 1:40 so that I know that I need to do the roll. I would, if you're going to get this and you're going to use a silent alarm, I would use it in conjunction with a sound alarm, like a regular alarm. But if you're going to buy the Charge HR, I could 100% rely on that to wake me up every morning, but this one is just not quite as loud. And another thing that I don't really like about the silent alarm on this one is that you have to snooze it manually, whereas with my Fitbit Charge, if I didn't snooze it or push the button, it would just go straight back into snooze and then 9 minutes later it would wake me up. Whereas if I don't snooze this, it won't alarm again. You have to actually push a button to say snooze, otherwise it will not ring another alarm, if that makes sense. Another factor that would be really great for those of you who like running or hiking or walking or anything like that is the fact that this has an onboard GPS. Not going to get too technical here, but basically what that means is that you can take this bad boy by himself to go for a walk and you don't need to take your phone, whereas the new Fitbit that's coming out, you need to have a phone to piggyback off of. So I really like that because some people, I don't really mind taking my phone with me, but if you were like going to go for a run in the rain, you can just take this all by itself and it will track your run, and I find that it is very accurate both on the map and distance wise. I do find that if you're standing outside, finding a satellite takes less than 30 seconds. I've heard some people say that it takes a while, but for me it's always very fast. Even when I was down in Blue Springs, which is where I was when I was filming the test, it did not take very long at all to get the satellite, because obviously GPS goes by satellite, so you can actually start before it finds a satellite and it'll just pick up your location when it's ready, but I usually just wait because it doesn't take that long. Another awesome function is that there are so many exercise modes on this device, whereas on the other Fitbit there was only like walk, I think it was like run, walk, and like something else. There was not very many, whereas on this there is a whole plethora. There's like elliptical, bike, hike, walk, run, weightlifting, general workout, all sorts of them, and some of them have GPS, some of them don't have GPS. I can't remember off the top of my head what the battery life claim is for Fitbit. I think this particular Fitbit is 5 days or 7 days. Maybe it's 5 to 7 days, I don't really know. But I find that this generally lasts me about 4 or 5 days. The reason why mine doesn't last me quite as long is because I have 2 silent alarms set, and having those set does eat away at your battery a little bit more because it's kind of like working in the background. And I do also use the timer from time to time, so that brings the battery life down again, and using the GPS function does also bring down the battery life. But obviously 3 days or 4 days is not anything to be sad about. That means that you really only charge it. Like, my recommendation to you guys, don't be like me and let it die on you. My recommendation to you guys would be to charge it while you're in the shower, while you're in the bath. That's probably my kind of like the perfect time to charge it, because you can sort of wash, give the skin where the watch lives a really good wash, because you are supposed to let your skin breathe every now and then. Throughout the day I kind of just push it up, get like a wet wipe, or just wash my hands underneath here, because you can get irritation from the strap. I did find that when I first wore this I did get a little bit of irritation. In saying that I had irritation, it was just sort of like my skin felt slightly sensitive and I had a little bit of flaking. But that was the same with my other Fitbit. I don't know if it's because my arm wasn't used to having like that covered, so it just kind of got a little bit funny, but then it was fine. I had no issues with my skin. Which is about the Fitbit is that it has onboard call and text notifications. I actually get a vibrate on the wrist when you get a call. I can't actually remember what shows up when you get a call, so I'll put in an overlay now. But when you get a text, you can push this button here and it basically just, it tells you, like, has a little message icon and it says like mum or whatever, then you click on it and it expands the text out and you can see the text, the full text in there. You can't respond from the Fitbit because it isn't a smartwatch. It's just a notification so that you don't miss anything. And you can also cycle through your messages by going to the menu and then pressing the top left button and then swiping through the screen. You can see your last 20 messages, I believe it is. Probably one of my absolute favourite features about Fitbit is the app. It is so streamlined. It is so beautiful and attractive, and it's like simplistic but beautiful. So I am going to come up close and show you guys. So this is what the app looks like here. And then when you load it up, this is the screen that you're greeted with. At the top it tells you your tracker that you have. Obviously I have a Surge. Please excuse the glare, I've got blinds right there so it doesn't really enjoy them. You can personalize what order these things come up in. All you do is you just hit edit and then you can drag them around. You can cancel them off if you don't want to see them as well. So this is what you're greeted with. You have your heart rate. This is the way that I have it set up at least. It tells you your resting heart rate, and for every single thing you can see a graph. You can see your resting heart rate or whatever it may be in there. Then I've got my steps. Again, you've got a graph. When you can see a star, it means that I hit my goal. Obviously you can see that someone's watch died on Thursday, because normally I would have like about 8,000 steps minimum. Again, you can look through the weeks and see how often you hit your goals. You can see when I was on holiday I did barely any steps, but yeah. And obviously you've got the graph to compare. Going down it tells you calories burned and then sleep, which I'm going to show you sleep because I love the sleep tracking function. Let's look at last night's sleep. So this is last night's sleep. You can see I slept for 8 hours and 12 minutes. I woke up 2 times, was restless 7 times, and I spent 19 minutes of my sleep being restless. This app does have a calorie tracking function, although I don't really love it. I'd recommend using MyFitnessPal because there aren't that many foods in it. Oh, excuse my janky fingernail, that's disgusting. Sorry. You can also record the water that you've drunk. So for example, today I've already had a glass of water. So I'm just going to select that I've had a 200 glass of water, put it in, and then it says I've had 200 mils of my goal. Obviously again you can set that goal yourself. Scrolling down more you can see the exercises that you do. Unfortunately I cannot show you this tab. I can't show you it now because it has a recent walk that I did in my neighbourhood and I don't want you guys to see that. Here you can see the distance that I walked. I had 18 active minutes, which was when I was dancing with my class. It shows you guys my weight, so there you go, you can see how much I weigh. Damn, I should have blurred that out, too late. And then again, this is kind of like a double up, but you can see the calories that I've eaten. I do prefer to use this because you can see how many you have left to eat rather than how many you've eaten in total. So I might actually just hide that because I don't really need it. So you just untick, click done, and then it's just going to disappear and you can easily put it back on there. And then at the bottom I have my floors, which as I said, it's not my favourite function. But the app itself looks the same regardless of what device you have. They do also have a app for Samsungs or Androids, whatever, and it is just slightly different, but it has all of the same info in there. Sorry if the camera angles changed, I just had to stop for a second because my battery was dying. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Another feature that I really like is the automatic workout detection. This is basically like if you are doing an exercise and you forget to activate like the workout mode, at the end of that exercise it will pop up on your exercises list and it kind of like categorizes it itself. Like for example, the Fitbit Charge HR does this as well. When I went to our house with my friends, I was obviously dancing around, jumping like a maniac, and that detected that I was doing aerobic workout and it told me that I burnt like blah 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 calories, did this many steps. So it's really great if you forget to activate it. It does make an effort to record it, although it's not always the correct exercise. Like one time it told me I was doing cycling and I was like, no, but the sort of like calories burned and everything were accurate, so it's better than nothing, I guess. One of my absolute favourite things about Fitbit is the fact that you can connect with friends. There is a friend function. You can add friends from Facebook or from email addresses, I believe, and then they come up on your Fitbit. You can see their weekly steps, you can share them, you can message them, and then there is a tab called Challenges, and on the Challenges tab you can challenge your friends to a variety of different challenges, as you can imagine. The ones that I can think of off the top of my head are the Work Week Hustle, which is a 5-day workday challenge to who can get the most steps. There's a daily challenge, so if you are like planning on being like, okay guys, on Wednesday we're all going to go to the gym and go hard, let's see who can get the most steps, you can do that as well. There is a weekend one, so like if you want to have a really crazy weekend going hiking and you want to see if your friends can beat you, you can challenge them to that. And then there is also another one which I cannot think of off the top of my head. Another thing that I really like is that there are achievements, and their achievements are really quirky. Like for example, recently me and my friend both got one called Hawaii or something like that, and it meant that our lifetime kilometers walked with the Fitbit on our wrist was the same as like the length of Hawaii, which is really cool. And in the challenges you can have up to 10 friends, and yeah, I've won a few times. I'm in one with like Shannon and stuff, and Shannon always beats me because she goes to the gym all the time, so it's my goal next month to beat Shannon at least 1 week. But yeah, those are the functions of the Fitbit that I think are amazing. Now there is only one thing that I do not like about the Fitbits, and that is that each Fitbit has a different charging cable. So if I go to Corpu's house, for example, he has a HR. If I take my Fitbit there and I forget my cable, which has happened to me 2 times, I haven't been able to charge it and my Fitbit's died. They are also what I believe are called proprietary cables, proprietary, which means that they are Fitbit cables. They are not like a micro USB or a I don't know what else there is. If you lose it or it breaks, you have to contact Fitbit or go to the Fitbit website to buy a replacement. You cannot just use any regular cable. So that is the end of my Fitbit Surge review. I really hope that you guys enjoyed. If I have missed anything or if you want any more information, please feel free to comment down below and ask. I will leave the Fitbit website with, you know, the Surge part of the Fitbit website if you guys want to check it out. But all in all, I definitely love having a Surge. Did I need a Surge? Probably not. I could have had a Fitbit charge perfectly fine, but for me to kind of start tracking my walks and doing GPS, I really love having that on the Surge. I would definitely recommend it if you guys are very, very into exercising. As an entry point though for the Fitbit family, I would recommend the Charge HR. I love it, and yeah, I would recommend it. Please let me know if you guys own Fitbits, which one you have, and do you like it? Do you want to upgrade? I would totally love to know. Anyway, I am going to go. Thank you again for watching. If you did find this helpful, give it a thumbs up. And yeah, I would totally love you guys' feedback if you like seeing these different videos. I have already said that like 30 times, so I am going to go. I love you guys, and I will see you all next time. Bye! So I came home and was so excited when I saw this sitting on my doorstep. This is another beauty box. This one is one that they do quarterly.